We are live. It is 3:06 Central Standard Time in the United States, 9:06 GMT in the United Kingdom. It is the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe.
Hey.
Coming to you live this 26th day of January 2025. So we are a couple shows in, and we are live again late and always great. Joe has the hoodie. I call it a hoodie.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Hoodie, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a hoodie, and I think it's got a bunch of football teams. It's all the jerseys, the kit of all the years of Arsenal. I think that's what it is, right?
Not all the years, but yes, quite a few years there.
Yeah, he's worn it before here on the channel. So we got Joe here, sporting the kind of Darth Vader kind of look.
I'm a Jedi today.
He's a Jedi. He's a dark side Jedi. Actually, he looks like he's going to kill younglings. Anyway. And if you're listening to the stream, congratulations. Watching the stream, even better. You'll be listening to the podcast afterwards. We have Jimmy Fire Dragon or Joshua, or I don't know. Hey, I'm not sure. I'm just going to go with the Chiron. It says Jimmy Fire Dragon, so it hasn't been
either
changed.
or.
Either or. Yeah, it's good. Hey, welcome back, sir. I know it's been a while. Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate you taking some time to join us, man. It's really, really good to see you again or hear from you again.
Cindy, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. So how are things? I mean, I know that. So how far are you from where Joe's at? I know the UK is not exactly a huge island. It's kind of smaller.
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. So how far is it from where Joe's at to where you're at on the about 6 hours, maybe
$200-300 or miles?
So, yeah, but I mean, if you're driving, I mean, I don't know how
you can't really get. You'd probably have to get like a boat, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah. So, anyways, you have to get a boat.
You can drive down to from Northern Ireland to Ireland, but that's probably maybe in around 2-ish hours drive. But I don't really think you can drive to England. So.
No.
Oh, okay.
Let's get boat or plane, Sam.
Okay.
Oh, there's Jermaine.
Yeah, so Jermaine's in the chat, and so we are well hydrated. Yeah, I've got my bottle of water, got my other not bottle of water, so I'm good to go. Anyway, so this is in the United States. This is almost a holiday. So this is NFL Championship Sunday. So this is right now for those of you who are Americans and give a rip. Probably not many people in this chat. It is currently, so what happens is this is the Sunday where I guess it's the, I would guess you call it a semifinal. So the last two teams in the NFC, which is a conference, and the last two teams of the AFC are playing. So basically the winners of these games today will go to the Super Bowl. I'm sure you do not have to be an American to know what the Super Bowl is. It's kind of an American thing that's kind of transcended into the European area. So that's what happens. And so after today, we'll have our two Super Bowl champs, possibly, or conference champs or Super Bowl contenders. So we'll see.
What's your prediction, Sam?
Well, so far, I honestly, so in the NFC, so that's the conference that my Chicago Bears play in, the National Football Conference. That one is the Commanders, which, again, you probably don't know them as the Washington Commanders. They used to be known as the Washington Redskins, but because of the fact that Redskins is not exactly a politically correct term anymore, the team changed its name about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Well, first of all, it was even cooler. So they didn't have a name. And they actually couldn't for the year. I think for a year or maybe 2 seasons, they were called the Washington Football Team. That was hilarious because, it was great. I wish they would have just kept that because it was pretty awesome. They didn't actually have a nickname for the team while they were kind of picking it. So for I think at least a season, maybe 2, they were known as the Washington Football Team. It was actually pretty cool. And the funny thing is they made a bunch of, merchandise and stuff with the name and the logo on it. It was just pretty generic. Some of that stuff I think is pretty hard to come by. If you can find Washington Football Team stuff, it's kind of like now it's a kind of a sought after item. And it's kind of cool. So now they're called the Commanders because they're in Washington, D.C. So that's the name of the team. And they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not an Eagles fan. They're okay. I don't like Philadelphia Eagles fans. I don't like people in Philadelphia generally because they're really, and I am going to take a hot take here. Philadelphia people are probably pretty okay if you talk to them, but when it comes to sport, their fans are not very nice. It's pretty well known that Eagles fans and Flyers, all the Philadelphia sports teams, the fans are pretty shitty and pretty nasty to visiting teams. So I'm not a huge Philadelphia fan at all. So actually, I want the Washington Commanders to win. The AFC game's a lot more compelling, and I would actually have missed this show to watch that game. That's how important this is. And the funny thing is, the Bears aren't playing. They don't even make the playoffs. They suck so bad.
That's the end of the show. See you later, guys.
Yeah, no. So the 5:30 game. So after that, they play the AFC game. That's the one of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. That's going to be a fantastic game because, first of all, I hope the Kansas City Chiefs lose because they're kind of like what's the team in the Premier League that's now like wins all the time now? Is it Man City? Is that the one that wins all the time now? Wins all the championships? This is where two English people talk, or British people, or UK people, or Irish people.
Oh, sorry, I was reading a message from Jermaine.
So, what's the team that's like? What's the team that's like won the last like 4 or 5?
Man City.
Okay, Man City. So the Kansas City
Champions
Chiefs
League,
are kind of the Man City of the NFL. Like they have a really good. You remember how you told me, "Hey, who's this Patrick Mahomes guy? He's pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah, he's probably the best quarterback in history." But
yeah.
So.
He looked good when I watched him.
Unfortunately, the NFL is a quarterback league. So if you have a really good quarterback, you're probably going to be successful. And if he didn't play for the Chiefs would probably be 6-11. They probably wouldn't even make the playoffs. He's the reason why they're in it. And so people, I don't know how this happens. Maybe if you live in the UK, if you're not a Man City fan, you're kind of sick of seeing Man City win every Premier League team. You're kind of sick of seeing, when teams go on these runs, 5-6 years, dynasty runs, you're kind of like, okay, we're kind of sick of seeing them winning. We'd like to see some other teams maybe get into the mix. So
they had lots of money plowed in as well.
No, it's not. It's not really the money. It's the fact that they've got this one quarterback, the Patrick Mahomes guy. He's just such a generational talent, and he's just so incredible.
He can win games alone.
He can just win games by himself. It's crazy. And that's how the NFL really, unfortunately,
doesn't matter who's running off him. He's hitting them.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, right? And then so and coaching does help, and you want to have a decent offensive line, but for the most part, so that's the 5:30 game. So after today, I'm. It's funny because Kansas City is the other team in Missouri, the state I live in. They're across the state. I don't like Kansas City for the same reason I don't like the Philadelphia. Their fans suck. I mean, Chiefs fans are so ridiculous. I've known a lot of Chiefs fans who've been Chiefs fans for like 30, 40 years, and they were not good. In the 90s, they were terrible. The Chiefs were bottom of the league. They were awful. So now they've gotten really good. So everybody now is a Chiefs fan, right? Bandwagon. That's what they call it here. What do they call a fan of a team that jumps on when they're really, really popular? What do they have?
Glory hunter.
Glory hunters. That's a little complicated. In the United States, we call them bandwagon. They jump on the bandwagon.
Bandwagon's something as well, but
okay, So that's what they call them here. Bandwagon fans. We have a lot of bandwagon fans here in the United States. Now that anyways, that's enough football talk. I mean, American football. So that's going on today. And then
talk about real football now.
Real football. Are they even playing? I don't even know when the seasons are. Are they playing now? I don't.
Yeah. Jimmy's team won today.
So is that?
That was a great win.
So what is that? Is it a Northern Ireland team or is it another team?
No.
Man United. Red Devils.
He's a Man United. Oh,
Red Devils.
Okay, cool. They used to be.
Well, I'm from Northern Ireland, but they're based in
Manchester.
Manchester.
Yeah, Manchester. I couldn't remember.
So wasn't it like I guess maybe 15 or 20 years ago? Weren't they like the team? Like weren't they like really, really good for a long time? And they had their one manager. He's a Knight now.
Alex Ferguson.
Alex Ferguson, right? Weren't they really good for a long time?
Yeah, for a very long time. They're probably one of the biggest clubs in the world, Sam. So yeah, they're a good club. Not as good as Arsenal, of course, but
clearly. So what's with the hood? I think Joe's got a bad hair day. He's had a rough weekend, I guess, between work and and then Saoirse wasn't feeling 100%.
I'm feeling a bit cold as well, so just
little chippy. Is it cold in you? I mean, well, actually today, the last couple of days,
it's a bit cold,
warmer. We've had like early in the week, it was like below 0 Celsius here in St. Louis. It was pretty cold. Last couple of days it's been pretty nice.
6 here right now.
6 Celsius.
Jimmy's colder though.
Oh yeah, he's up north. It's probably a little chillier. Probably not terribly, right? It's probably maybe right at 0, maybe 2, 3.
What's it saying, Jimmy? Where you're at?
Oh hey.
What's the weather like?
Temperature wise,
It's not too bad. It is a bit cold.
A bit cold, yeah.
Do you have
It's
any
always
snow on the
raining
ground? Is there any snow on the ground in the no snow?
No,
Just...
no, but the wind has been really bad. Really bad.
Okay.
Terrible winds, like I think 30, 40 odd mile an hour. There was
Yeah,
like, I think there was like a red and a amber one at one point.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Well, if you guys get some
Danger
trees
to
in the
life
UK,
one.
maybe you wouldn't have to worry about so much. There's no trees there. Seems like it's just a bunch of
Yeah, there was quite a few without power. I think like 190 odd thousand, 189,000, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like Iceland. It's always cold there because they cut all the trees down. It's a whole island full of no trees. Well, if you don't have any trees or anything, it's hard. That's a lot of wind to be blowing around an island. That's pretty cold.
Yeah.
So anyway. Well, so we got lots to talk about. So we'll just dive into Joe. I guess we'll start with Joe's device. You got the new rig there.
Yeah, so I've got the on a Magic 7 Pro. I finally unboxed it. I filmed it earlier today, the unboxing. I haven't put my SIM in it yet though, because I want to buy a case.
Right.
So I don't rock phones without a case, but it does feel nice without the case though. Look.
So is the housing, is it perfectly round, or it looks like it has a little, it's almost round except the corners have a little.
So the housing's round, but then the metal bit around that is kind of squircle.
Squircle? Okay.
Yeah, it's round, but then the round bit around that, the ring is squircle.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't have the camera housing. I don't know if the big, huge dial in the back. I don't know how I feel about that.
To be fair, they're all doing it though. Xiaomi, OnePlus, Oppo, they're all doing that.
Yeah, I think the 15 Ultras have a similar design.
Yeah, they're all doing that sort of look. There's only so many things you can do. It's either a square or a circle, isn't it? Really, or a rectangle,
or you can go vertically or horizontally. But I guess it's just. I mean, OnePlus kind of offsets it, and I that's a little different. But I guess it seems like the Chinese brand version is more of a larger, really pronounced camera housing, right in the center, pretty square, pretty circle, whatever. But I mean, it's and other phones don't have that. Like I said, I still think I like the 6 and 7 pixel. I think I like that better than the Island. I don't hate this. I like the visor better. I
like the 8 Pro. I thought the 8 Pro was really nicely done.
Yeah, so I think, and so so you how long have you had that? Has it been a couple days?
I've had it a couple of days, but I only unboxed it today. So what? Because I picked it up yesterday. But I only unboxed it today. It's I think I'm gonna like it. It seems quite nice. The screen's beautiful. The screen's really nice.
So why is it? I noticed that this is like not your first Honor device, isn't it? Like didn't you have another Honor?
Yeah, so I had the V3, which I was kind of reluctant to see go, but I had to switch it up to get this. I really enjoyed the Honor V3. Really beautiful hardware. I found myself using the inner screen quite a lot on the bus to work. I mean, camera-wise, this should be better though. I haven't really truly tested it out yet, but it should be a little bit better. But the V3 had everything I kind of wanted in a phone. Now that I've got my camera for when I really want to go out and shoot, I don't think cameras are as important to me. They're still important, but not as important. So my SIM's currently in the 200 Pro, the Honor 200 Pro, which is upper mid-range, you could say.
Right.
And I'm enjoying this phone, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not sure what a dodecahedron is. I know it's a shape. I can't remember exactly what a dodecahedron looks like. Aditya's in the chat. He is putting up his. He can describe it, or I can look it up. It's not a big deal. Become ungovernable. Yeah, he basically just going to disrupt the whole thing, right? He's going to fuck it, right? Make it a triangle. That'd be cool. So, and I think, Josh, I thought you have a foldable, right? I thought you had the Pixel.
Yeah, 9 Pro Fold.
Yeah, so how are you how long have you had that, and are you liking foldables? Is that your first?
I think I started using it or got it. I think it was in around about Halloween time.
Okay, a couple months. So was that your first foldable, or did you have another? Foldable?
Yeah. Hoping to go for another one after. Most likely the Pixel.
Yeah. So you liking the foldable now? Do you use the inner screen a lot, or are you half, or are you?
I'd say I'd use the inner screen a lot more, probably more because I'm like anxious, but more maybe because of the durability of the, like if I use the bigger screen a bit more, like if I do.
Okay, yeah, and is it?
I definitely do like using the big 8-inch screen.
So is the battery been okay for you? I mean, I don't know. Do you use a lot? I mean, is your usage? Are you one of those people that are on their phone all the time and drain a battery?
Yeah, I'm quite a heavy user, and whenever I'm at college, I have end up using sometimes like a few gigs of data each day, like because sometimes I'll end up like having my hotspot on quite a bit as well and whatnot, because I get like 100 gigs of data and my data rolls over.
Okay. So yeah, that's cool. And then Michael's like, I like the two-tone color. I don't know why they did. Yeah, I liked the color ways. I kind of liked the old on the 4XL having the the button, having different colors and the orange with the orange button. It was kind of nice. I mean, I like colors, but we'll see. Yeah, it's just we'll see how that goes. And then Samsung had the two colors for a little while. Yeah, the S20. I kind of like the two-tone. I kind of like having that, or maybe like I know on Xiaomi phones. I remember on my was it the P30 Pro I had? I think it was. It had that the pearlescent lumen the back end. It was like kind of like it had a gradient color, so as it kind of changed colors as you turned it. It was kind of nice. I liked it. It just didn't have a standard solid color. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Joe's going to be putting a case on it. So, do you like clear cases, TPU? Do you like hard? Like
I've been using a MagSafe clear case.
Okay. And what color is the back of the Pro XL, the Pro Fold? Is it white or is it black?
I ended up just going for the black one.
Okay, so
I think it was the Obsidian.
So if you have a black phone, are you more willing to get a case that you can't see through, or do you do that when you have a phone that has maybe a color you want to kind of show off, like if it's got an actual color other than black or gray or white? Does that influence you maybe getting a clear case, or
I just ended up using the Obsidian with probably more because I just wanted to like embrace or like, how do you describe it? Like, sorry, I'm terrible at describing stuff. Like embrace the like full phone itself, if you know what I mean, instead of just like case and phone. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I mean, you definitely want to protect it, although foldables have always been kind of a challenge when you're getting cases because of how they have to attach. It's a little bit different, obviously, than a slab phone. So, and I'm surprised, Joe, you really haven't stuck to a foldable, right? I thought maybe that V3 was going to be where you kind of like, okay, I've had enough experience. I've had enough couple of different phones. This might be the one where.
Yeah, no, Sam, you
kind of.
It is a good point because I did really enjoy it, and I clearly enjoyed it, didn't I? I talked it up quite a lot. I think when the V4 comes out in this year, then I'll probably go for that. And I'm also eyeing up the OnePlus Open 2 when that comes out. I am definitely more sold on foldables than what I was before, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's including the. So I was going to ask Josh, do you have any anxiety about like? Well, I know right now I've only had the phone since Halloween. In a year from now, let's say the Halloween next year, that's a full year of using the phone. Do you have any anxiety about any issues, or do you think it's going to fail, or do you worry about durability?
I'd probably say I do use like the smaller 6.3-inch screen or more because of the like bit of it, like anxiety and whatnot.
Okay.
I think I remember going to or like Googling like what the Max Folds was, and I think it was ended up being like I think only about 100K, something like that. But I think some foldables do end up going, like I have seen some stories on like the Pixel Fold Reddit, and I've seen like some people getting like dead pixels and whatnot, which is quite surprising.
There's all different variables in there, to be honest, and I'm always a little bit on edge with it because shit happens, right? And
Yeah, definitely.
all it takes is something to crawl in there when you're folding it, and it could be something quite small, and it could potentially cause some damage.
But I'm very glad there's IP ratings.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
I think
Jermaine,
it might be
sure,
IPX8 or something.
he sent me the 6 of those euros. I don't know what that means in real money. It's like Bitcoin. Is that Bitcoin? Because that'd be like cool. We had 6
similar
Bitcoin
to pounds, to be honest. It's pretty much.
Is it really? I have no idea.
Pretty much.
I didn't know they used euros anymore because all you guys are in the UK now, and you guys got off the euro, so you're back to British pounds. I guess I kind of forgot.
Yeah,
we never went on euros.
You saw on euros?
We never went to euros.
Oh, that's right. So that's what I'm saying.
Part of Europe, but
I really don't even pay attention to that. And the fact that, and so they use euros. Okay, fine. So he got 6
just
of those.
Quickly on IP rating.
Really
right?
Good. Thanks, man.
This is IP 69 and 68.
Well, okay. So that was going to ask. Did they actually describe what the difference in 68 and 69 is? Is it pressure now?
I think they probably did. I think it's the pressure. Like you're going to be squirting water,
right? Like, or like, what are you going to be doing? You're going to be deep sea diving the goddamn thing. You're going to have it in your fucking wetsuit. You're going to be like 800 meters down. You're going to like pull out your phone and go, I need to do a selfie.
we get some heavy rain in the UK, mate. It's important.
Yeah, I've got quite a bit today.
Like a hurricane? You need like a hurricane. And that's not what they're talking about. I know what you're getting at. That's not what they mean. It's just
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Not wrong, definitely.
Above 68. So if you're doing that, you're one. You're a little short. You need to kind of get up on Urban Dictionary and figure out what's going on. So we appreciate that. So yeah, I was just curious because, like I said, I thought the V3 might be where Joe kind of hangs. I thought the foldable. The only thing I would worry about is more. Not only you would be more concerned about durability, I'd be more thinking you'd be more concerned about camera performance, right? Because the foldable just isn't going to be the same as a slab yet. And I thought that might be what really was the reason why, other than the durability. I thought maybe the camera performance would kind of swing you off too.
And to be honest, I did find I brought out the Vivo with me when I had the V3. I've now sold the Vivo.
Okay,
it's gone. Yeah, it's gone. Sadly, sad to see it leave. But I went to a friend of the show, John Trimmer. So hopefully he's enjoying it.
I hope so. So I guess the question is, what phones do you still actually have in house? You still have the S24 Ultra, right? I assume.
Yeah, 2 of them. One's a work one.
And one's the Snapdragon. Okay, yeah. And then the other Honor with the. And I'm sorry, that camera housing on that thing is ugly.
Yeah.
I hate that. That is ugly as hell. Now the phone might be great. It's a great, that thing's foul. Dude, that thing sucks. Sorry. It's just stupid looking. I mean, just go vertical with it. I mean, or honestly, if you're going to go vertical and you don't have a housing, I kind of like what Samsung does where they just have the waterfall. I'm okay with that. Like that's just where you have just the circles. You don't have a house.
LG did it better though, didn't they?
Yeah, on the Velvet. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Well, I mean, RIP LG, right? Pour one out for LG. Which is funny because somebody, what was his name? God, I can't remember. I was watching a video where he bought and unboxed a brand new inbox LG V60.
Oh,
it was cool, and he was talking about it, and you run into the same problems like I have with my wing, right? You got 60 hertz, right? LG's UX is kind of meh, but obviously in the battery performance isn't great, but I don't know. It's just a shame. I miss seeing the LGs and the HTCs and those kind of phones. I really do miss those devices. But I do like what Velvet did and what Samsung is doing on their Ultra series. I wish they would just go to all of it and just do waterfalls on all their phones, the S25 and the 25 Plus and the 25 Ultra and then whatever. So speaking of Samsung, obviously had Unpacked. So we've got a couple new phones. People are really pissed off apparently about the Bluetooth S Pen thing. I think it's just because it's a downgrade. I don't think they were like crushed the fact that I was using this Bluetooth to take pictures and stuff, and now I can't. So
did you see that you can buy a Bluetooth version? So do you think maybe it could be to sell Bluetooth pens as extra revenue to the few people that actually want it?
Well, and I think, well, and that makes sense, I guess, but then you should have been doing that all along. You know what I mean? Tell people, hey, it's going to come with a non-Bluetooth thing. If you want this extra gigaw and you want this clickable thing and you want an old Bluetooth, then you're going to have to buy an S Pen that's capable. But I thought somebody said that they were in the software, there wasn't even software that even supported Bluetooth S Pen on the S25. So maybe, I don't know, maybe if you get the Bluetooth pen that Samsung says, maybe it unlocks that software feature and then it allows you to make some, because in the S24 you can do Bluetooth pen stuff, right? S Pen, but I don't think it's on. People said that the software is not on the S25 build, like it's not in that phone. So I don't know how I feel about it. I will tell you that when I gave the S22 Ultra to my daughter's boyfriend, when she had the S22, she did use the S Pen as a.
According to Samsung, though, it was like 1% or less.
Well, I don't believe. First of all, I don't believe that. I think Samsung
don't
have any idea who actually used the goddamn thing. How could they know if you're using the Bluetooth? Maybe they have metrics, but so Josh, do you think what do you think about that? Like, are you okay with Samsung taking away the Bluetooth? Does it matter to you because you weren't going to buy a Samsung Ultra anyway? So I don't really give a shit what it is, right? What do you think about them having a capability and kind of in this iteration downgrading that and maybe making people buy it? What are your thoughts?
A bit 50-50 on it, like a bit. I don't really care too much because not really. I'm on a 2-year contract with my 9 Pro Fold.
Okay. So what was the last Samsung phone you ever actually
gone off? Samsung's UI and just their devices and everything since I think it might have been an S21 Plus Exynos.
Okay. Yeah, I know I still own an S22. I know that's the phone that I kept. I paid off that my daughter's boyfriend's using. I like the S22. I like all the Ultras. I mean, Plus or Notes. And honestly, I really think that now they've kind of done this. I really think they need to bring a Note back. I just call it the Note and just be done with an Ultra. But I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, that's a nice to have. I don't think we're going to do that. So I mean, I really haven't heard much about it. S25 probably is pretty nice. S25 Plus is probably pretty nice. Got the X Elite, so you got an upgraded processor. Apparently though, they have a lot more alignment with the RAM and storage configurations across.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's pretty cool. They need to upgrade the camera housing because really this is now the 4th year that Samsung has kind of pushed that same hardware. And people are pissed off about it, but I think, isn't that how Samsung gets down? Isn't that what they always do?
Isn't it how
4 or 5 years?
Everyone got down? So the Pixel hasn't had many improvements, and neither did the iPhone. So it's what the big boys do now and get away with it.
So you got Jermaine who says he liked the S Pen. You have Dan who says he never really used it. I did use my S Pen. Now, did I use it as much as probably to justify actually spending the money? No. But I don't think anybody bought an Ultra because of the S Pen. I think people bought the Ultra for larger battery. It was the flagship bleeding edge specs. But now the fact that S25s are now more hardware across the board spec wise, I think that's probably what it is. Okay, we're going to go ahead and give the S25 and the S25 Plus and Ultra the same kind of capability, hardware, like RAM, storage, all that stuff. And we're also going to downgrade the pen to non-Bluetooth. So now it really kind of makes it a lot more of a difficult choice. I've always argued that unless you need the S Pen, the S25, or the Plus series of all those phones were probably the best buy, bang for buck.
Yeah, I'd say other phones.
There's a date you had.
I'd say other phones. Here's a question for you two guys, though, right? Do you think this is a move towards the S Pen going totally?
Oh, yeah. I think I would think with the S26. Well, it depends on. Well, I don't. If they change it to a Note, then no, because then you need a Note. You need a pen to write, right? If they completely don't go with that, the S26 Ultra, I think, will be probably the first year where a pen will not come with the phone. You'll have to buy the pen separately. There will be a housing, probably an actual silo with a cap, and they'll probably tell you at this point, if you really want the S Pen, you'll have to buy it separately. And then I think in the S27, if they don't get a lot of movement where people buy the pen and silo it, I think they're like, nobody's using this goddamn thing. We're done with the Note. We're just going to use it. We're having Ultra, an S25, an S25 Lite, and then we're going to be done with. We're going to not even call it Ultra anymore. We're just going to call it the Ultra, and they won't even offer a pen, which is interesting because I think what they might do is say the only time we're going to offer a pen is in the Fold.
Possibly.
I don't know. I'm sure.
Or
I mean, I don't know. I'm
something
not
you can buy like externally.
Yeah, you can buy. You know, like you said, you can still have this.
They could still have the compatibility there, couldn't they?
Just buy a pen, a bamboo pen, right? Just buy a pen. You use your pen, and that's what you do, right? I mean, I don't know. I think that the S Pen has become so kind of a maligned piece of equipment. Like I said, I think more people are in Dan's camp where they've never used an S Pen. Yeah, I know a lot of people have had it on their Ultras, and they've never taken that out of the silo. I mean, I don't know. So,
it's true.
They will make a Note series. I hope so, because I really kind of like the Note. I kind of like the fact, that they had an actual Note. I think that still should have been the approach. I hated going to the Ultra because, first of all, everybody's got an Ultra or a Max or a Plus or a Elite or a super duper doopy doo. Nobody ever had a Note like that, or actually they did have a Note, but that was kind of a uniquely a Samsung thing. So it kind of depresses me that they got rid of it. So
yeah, I don't know if Samsung will go back to that or what really.
I don't think they will. I agree, Jermaine. I would like to see it, but I honestly don't think that Samsung's ever going back to a Note.
I think they're more likely to just get rid of the S Pen and the Ultra will be like it used to be.
Right. I agree. I think so. So I will tell you that it seems like this version of this series of S25s, I think a lot of the YouTubers are kind of like, of course they're going to push it because Samsung's had unpacked and sent them there, but I think this time around I don't see a lot of real, like, people are kind of lukewarm about it. I mean, they're kind of it kind of feels like what they do with the iPhone 16, right? They're kind of like, we'll cover it, but this isn't moving the needle for us, and obviously we can't. I'm curious how many of them are going to push an upgrade.
Thing is, unless you're excited about the AI shit, it's not really much of a change, is it?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
And that's the same with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Unless you're excited about the AI shit, it's not much change.
Yeah, and Apple's version hasn't even arrived still.
Yeah, exactly. It's still still not really arrived.
Let me.
So I don't know. This is the first time that Samsung and Apple have launched phones, obviously the 16 and this one, where it feels like to me that people aren't really that motivated. Like they just are kind of like. Now, I guess my question is that do you think that's just more of a general commentary on the malaise of smartphone innovation, or these companies have kind of just basically they've kind of put themselves in a situation where it's like, again, this is the argument. Do you really need a yearly upgrade? If Samsung's not going to do anything other than just throw another chipset in and increase the storage.
Well, that's the thing.
You really want to upgrade? Should you?
Do the brands make their phones for people to buy every year, or do they make them for people who are doing a 2 or 3 year cycle? I don't know how they plan. But the way it's very few updates, you'd think it would be, the plan would be for them people that do 2 or 3 years, because the majority of people do that, right? It's just us tech people that get them every year.
Right. Well, because you want, it's because you. Well, first of all, for you, we're on a podcast, but you're also having a channel, so you're wanting to see. But I think, I mean, I'm curious to see if a company decided for the next year, one of these Samsungs, they say, look, this year, this coming up, we're going to take a pause. We're not going to put a phone out there. We're gonna. I don't know. I mean, maybe nobody else does it. Maybe obviously Microsoft did it with the Duo. And that didn't work out good. And not because I think the reason why the Duo failed is 3 reasons. 1, the hardware just wasn't going to be usable for a lot of people. 2, they didn't support it. And 3, they never told anybody about it. So obviously that's a fail.
The only way they could make that work, though, is if the upgrades were really substantial when they did come out of a new device, because they're going to have to make up for that loss in revenue.
Well, also that's another thing too. So I was going to ask Josh. So like, okay, we can ask for like upgraded hardware and all these other specs, but at some point they're going to have to try to reap the cost of that upgrade. If you get a better processor, if you get a better camera hardware, right? If you get hardware differences, bigger battery. Well, at some point, Samsung's going to have to raise the price. And my question is, it seems like no matter, even if it seems like it's justifiable, people bulk it. What, this Ultra now is $16.99 or $15.99? That's horseshit. I'm not buying that, right? So what do you think the companies can do? Like, what do you think Samsung can do with the S26 series? Well, what do you think they can do to make that compelling for buyers?
Hopefully, maybe I'd probably say maybe join Google eventually or sometime soon with maybe like the likes of the silicon carbon tech.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get you. Like, oh yeah, that would be good. Well, what do you think about cameras? Do they for you want to fold? So is cameras a big thing to you? Do you think that they need to is that where they need to go with maybe making the camera hardware more aggressive? Like, what do you think they can do? Like, if you were going to make the S26 and you really wanted people to buy it, but you may not be able to increase the price, what do you think you can do as a company to kind of make it different or better?
Maybe that's a hard one.
So I think Samsung would do. I think they'll get rid of the S Pen, right? And it'll be a 6,000 milliamp battery, 1,000 more than it is this year. And that'll be one of their big headlines. So
yeah, it's been 5,000 for quite a few years now.
It has now, yeah. So that'll be one thing. They will have to do a new main sensor next year. They've got to. So how long have they had this 200 megapixel same sensor? It's been,
I think, 2 or 3 years now at least.
Yeah, at least
it might
3.
Be 4.
Yeah. So do you think do you go to a 1-inch sensor, or you just upgrade the current one and make it?
I think it needs at least a larger sensor. It needs to, and I think they need to follow suit like a lot of the others are doing now and do a high megapixel, larger sensor telephoto. Because actually the 200 megapixels on the telephoto makes more sense than it does on the main. Just give us a larger sensor. 50 megapixels is fine. That's what the Samsung need to do. Do I think they would do that though? I don't know. I really don't know. There's some rumors saying that they might.
Hopefully sometime.
Yeah, I that's what I mean. I'm just more curious about what can they really do. I'm like, I don't know what they can really do anymore. It's like, unless you want, and my question is, they would probably go and say, yeah, we'll go ahead and do all that, but you guys are going to have to, there's going to be a cost increase. If we're going to put all this extra sensor, we're putting extra battery, we're putting extra camera hardware, software obviously can always change, but if we're doing all this stuff, the $12.99 price point isn't happening anymore. We're going to do, it's going to be a $14.99 price point.
And then
so
hopefully
for American customers, that's right. Well, and then like I said, that's when I think it's one of these things where it's kind of like with iPhone. I think they're going to have to deal with that fact that the 17 is going to have to come out. They're going to have to do something other than just the same phone. I think I've seen some rumors and some changes, but I think if they come out with the same kind of iPhone, just a little, I think Apple people are now. Will that cause them to come off iPhone? No, because they're in the ecosystem and they aren't doing that. But I think people are really going to start really getting pissy about Apple not really doing anything to make, and then people may not buy it. I don't think they won't get off iPhone. They'll just keep their iPhones. They'll say, I'm just going to keep my 14 or 15. I'm not upgrading. I'm done with that. So it's interesting to see. I'm kind of curious to see, but it seems like so far the OnePlus 13 got what it always does, right? People, it's a really great phone. It's the great phone in the United States that nobody's going to buy. And it clearly isn't a phone you guys are buying. Josh is using his Pixel Fold. You just bought an Honor, so you ain't buying a OnePlus 13 because you got a 12. Like, what do you care? If you
I've got 12.
Oh, yeah. So I'm like, you don't even have a OnePlus. And so now you get the 13, you're like, okay, well, that's great, but I ain't buying it. So again,
I think the only places we can go for one is like an Amazon or maybe eBay or. Well, I found out recently there was a website, I think Phone House. You can go for one on a monthly contract, but I think they only do the 12 and the CE4 Lite.
Yeah, I wouldn't go Phone House. Wonder Mobile's meant to be quite good. So I'd be tempted to go there if I was to get a OnePlus. Because I'd go Chinese variant flashed with global
ROM. So here's the thing. It's like, well, here's the OnePlus 13, the best phone that no one's going to buy. Yeah, nobody's going to buy it, man.
Yeah, it's sad because it's a pretty decent device. But look, if we did it at O2, I would probably do it on my contract. But we don't.
I'd love to see if it'd come over here to the UK.
Right. I mean,
like the car stores.
So
Sam,
on the OnePlus 13, is it not at O2, or you guys are not going to carry the OnePlus 13 at O2?
We don't do OnePlus.
Oh, you don't.
But they do the X8 Pro though. So
yeah, do Oppo.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah,
and very similar in terms of like the OS and whatnot as well.
O2 have a network exclusive in the UK for the X8 Pro. Find X8 Pro. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Joe. I apologize. I cut you off. What was your?
I was gonna say. I think in the Android space, brands need to do more with their ecosystem as well, because that's one of the things that people shout about with Apple, right? And that's one of the things I actually quite like about what OnePlus has been doing. But with Honor, they've got something quite cool. I'm going to get a free tab with this phone, by the way, Sam. And they've got something quite cool called the Magic Ring.
Magic Ring?
Yeah. So you can, and with it, you can control your phone from your tab. I think Oppo do something similar. But you can also transfer documents just like that, just dragging over. And it's really quite good. I need to test it out once I get that tablet. But yeah. Well, my Magic V3 is still on there.
I don't understand. Well, the problem is okay. Well, here's the problem. It's like, okay, well, ecosystem is easy when you control all the hardware and software. I don't think there's ever going to be the same parity. Right? It's going to be like if you have an Android device and you're not on Apple, because Apple controls it all from beginning to end, the entire stack, you're not going to get the same. If ecosystem is what it is, then you're not going to be able to dislodge Apple users, and you're not going to get. Samsung might have the best chance, maybe, but even then, it's like you have to buy all Samsung shit. You have to buy a Samsung tablet, a Samsung computer, and a Samsung TV.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's great. Maybe people will do that, but I don't think it's not a fair competition, because Apple, just the way it's structured, is it's completely walled garden, closed in, and they control it all. It's a lot easier when you have OS and not OEMs to deal with. It's a lot easier.
So the one brand that I thought could do it is sort of heading the same way is Huawei.
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, they kind of already do it. Xiaomi too. They have, because remember, like Xiaomi, they have like vacuum cleaners and home appliances and smart tech. Right. I thought for sure in China, because of the way things are done between Huawei and the Xiaomi, they probably had a chance, but I don't see that happening. I think if you want ecosystem, you're going to almost have, if you value ecosystem, you're going to have to go to iOS and iPhone. You're just going to have to go to Apple. There's no other way around it. On top of that, even the PC.
But if you value choice, you go Android.
Well, if you value choice, or you value, right? I mean, again, I think a lot of people value ease of use. I think that's why I know my parents use an iPhone. It's not because
why I don't like iOS, because I don't find it easy to use.
I don't find it.
Yeah, the walled garden's crazy.
Yeah, and so here's what irritates me about, and I ran into this the other day. So Becky got an iPhone 16 a while ago, and she was complaining about the fact that it wouldn't connect to the Wi-Fi. And so what I found out was I could not. So I had a Wi-Fi network with an SSID that was a name. And then what happened is I tried to forget the network. But on iOS, the only way you can forget a network on an iPhone is if you're connected to that network, which is fucking stupid.
Really?
Yeah. So the only way on an iPhone you can forget a Wi-Fi network is you have to be connected to that network. Well, that's a problem, because I couldn't get her phone to connect because it was just throwing an error. So I tried to reset the network settings. Didn't work. So I had to reset my entire fucking network and change the SSID totally because I reset the network. Then I made the mistake of making the SSID the same number, the same word. And so the iPhone goes, oh, it's the same network. And it is the same network if the ID is the same and the ID, and the IVP4 is the same. I'm like, but here's the thing. On a Windows computer, I don't know, maybe on a Mac you can't, but on a Windows PC, on an Android device, you can forget a network that's saved even if you're not connected to it. You just go, forget this network, right? On iOS, you have to be connected to the network to forget it.
Surely there's a workaround for that. That's weird.
No, I went on their white paper and their Apple's documentation on there. They said the only way on an iPhone you can forget a network is you have to be connected to that network, and that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. And Apple can eat a gallon of fucking dicks because that's a stupid design. And anybody at Cupertino who's listening to this, which nobody is, you need to allow users on their phones to forget saved networks on their Wi-Fi if they're not connected to it. Because if you can't connect to the network, so what I had to do, the only other thing they suggested was wiping Becky's phone and restarting it. I'm not doing all that shit. So I wiped my network again, changed the SSID to a completely different name, and then it perfectly worked. So I had to do all that shit in my home network just to get my wife's iPhone to connect. Because nobody else is. No, it's stupid. So it's not even weird. Yeah. It's fucking stupid. And iOS should be ashamed of itself. And I don't know if anybody's run into that problem, but if you have an iPhone, you in order to forget a network, you have to connect to it. And that's just idiotic because I couldn't get her phone to connect to the network to forget it. I was stuck in this loop. And then I go to my phone, I go, watch this. On Android, long press, forget. I go to my Windows computer, right click, forget. You can forget any network that's saved, except on an iPhone.
That's one thing I do like about Samsung, though, Sam, right? You have so much choice. You can do some things like 3 or 4 different ways. Like there's so much you can do with a Samsung. Mm-hmm. Like with these Honor phones, you can't scan QR code to get your Wi-Fi on. So you have to put the password in. I never know it. So I go and get to my Samsung and I look at the password there because I can't look on the Honor. You can't bring up the password and see it.
Right, it won't save it. It won't display it to you.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about my Pixel. I can just like say if I'm like someone asks about my Wi-Fi password or my hotspot password, I can just show them the QR code.
Yeah. Now with the Honor,
have to type the code in, and it's just scan it, and then 2 seconds later,
much easier, isn't it? So with the Honor, once you're linked to it, you can share it, but it's just initially setting it up is frustrating.
Yeah. So let's go through some comments. Battery technology needs to improve. Yep. Battery, not even, Yep. Agreed. It's a nice phone, but the camera needs work. Okay. So again, here we are with OnePlus. Again, I thought the 13 had a really great camera. I hear people say the camera is really good. It's really good. It's the best camera that on a OnePlus, but I guess the best camera on a OnePlus still sucks versus a Vivo and an Oppo. Okay. Well, then it's processing, which makes no sense because it's if Oppo has a great camera, wouldn't you think? Isn't it the same company, right? BBK.
It's like I mentioned last week. There's the China variant has had I think something like 9 updates, whereas the global ones only had 1 or 2 so far.
Right. So yeah, I mean, so that's where Jermaine's at. He's like, I'm not getting a OnePlus 13 because the camera, for these reasons. Okay. Fast charging absolutely helps.
Jermaine knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not a novice. That's for sure. Fast charging, absolutely. Yeah, I think any phone now, if it doesn't charge at least at 45 watts, shame on you. Mm-hmm. It should at least 45 watts. Never understood the argument that companies should not give really fast charging because it's bad for the battery option. Yeah, well, and here's the thing: nobody's keeping their. I mean, unless you're an iPhone user, maybe you're keeping it 5 years. But even the iPhones with good battery usage still get degraded, right? So again, to Luis's point, better battery health and retention and charging cycles and everything else needs to be happening. That's the one place we haven't really been able to seem to improve.
I think I said it a couple of years ago, Sam, on here, that they need to look at battery being more efficient.
Yeah, the 30-watt charging is like really frustrating with my 9 Pro Fold.
Oh yeah, I bet.
God, you're lucky you don't have the original Fold. That one, what was from 0 to dead is like almost 2 hours to charge. That's just stupid.
So I've started like the past week or two. Just had to I've ended up putting it on flipping airplane mode and then putting it on charge. It's been so frustrating to get I've been having to like try so hard to just get it to charge so much quicker.
Right.
So how much quicker does that charge though? Out of interest, that's an interesting thing. I've never done that before. How much
Maybe
quicker?
a few minutes. Maybe a few minutes,
Man.
like
It's not
like
worth
5
it.
to 7%, like
It's not worth it.
roughly.
Yeah, like I said,
Even whenever I was preparing for the stream, I ended up putting it on airplane mode and then turn it off as well
Mm.
and putting it on charge.
Yeah, turning it off's a good way.
Yeah, so basically, Jermaine thinks he just got the blue bubbles and all the ladies are coming to the yard. Ladies aren't coming to the yard, dude. They don't care about that. Man, that's because of the phone. It's because Jermaine, folks. I'm just saying, the social thing behind the blue bubble. I think we're kind of done with all that. At least I don't know. Maybe in Europe, maybe it's a thing, but I mean, honestly,
really.
I've had people literally say to me that it's like, I mean, come on now. Concept. He's at 2 places at once. Holy crap! Somebody's actually somebody's on Twitch.
Yeah, hello again, Brain.
We're on Twitch, sorta. I mean, I don't know. And then Oppo over processes in auto as well. Master mode is so much nicer. So yeah, I mean, it's here we are again, right? We're at that in that situation where we got all these new phones, right? The OnePlus 13 comes out, and it's the best phone that nobody's going to buy, And here we are again. Now Samsung's come out with the S25 series, and they're like, eh. And then I guess there's an Edge, which everybody's just kind of dumping on, which I don't understand the place of the Edge. I don't look at the specs. Apparently, it got everybody's attention only because nobody knew it was coming out. So of course, at the show, everybody's like kind of crowding around this phone.
Apple's doing something similar, aren't they, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's a light variant. So
yeah.
Sure. I mean, does that seem like it matters to people? I don't know if it does. I'm not getting an S25 anything, I mean, so I don't care.
Lent on the V3 being so thin, but I mean that's because it was a foldable. That's what wowed people there. I don't know if a phone being thinner will wow people. I don't know. I guess there's some people.
Yeah, I think my 9 Pro Fold. I think it's something like 5.1 according to GSM Arena.
Yeah, it's nice bit of hardware. They've done well with it.
Well, yeah, compared to what you got going on with the the original. I mean, I think overall the improvement from the 9 Pro Fold from the original Pixel Fold is pretty. The only thing I don't like is the aspect. I like the Pro. I like the original's aspect ratio. I like that more than I do on the 9 Pro Fold. But obviously, everything else is way better on the 9 Pro Fold. I mean, it's a nice foldable, especially for folks who really like the Google software suite. I mean, for me, it's pretty sweet. I mean, I still have my 9. I mean, I got it right here. I love my 9 Pro XL. It's a really great phone, especially when I'm having.
That's what I'm on right now. I need to sell it. I need to sell it.
Oh yeah, he needs to sell it. So. Yeah, Joe needs the money because he needs to basically buy another phone or at least have enough money so he can pay some stuff and then maybe.
I need lenses.
He needs lenses for his camera. That's right, folks. So if you're willing to trade a phone for a bunch of lenses, let's do that.
Now, Sam, do you reckon you can guess this? I've got one itch I need to scratch still. Do you reckon you know what it is?
As far as a lens?
No. As far as a phone.
As far as a phone. Let's
think about a brand I've not had yet.
A brand you haven't had? You haven't had a Xiaomi. You've never had a Xiaomi.
Yeah, a Xiaomi 15 Ultra. That's the itch I need to scratch this year.
No,
I think it's coming out at MWC. It was confirmed.
Yeah, I think end of Feb. No, March. Is it March? I think it might be March.
I think it might be.
Is O2 going to carry any of the Xiaomi?
No, they don't. No.
Just got to straight up buy that, huh?
So I'm going to need to somehow. But that's the itch I need to scratch.
Yeah, I've had a couple of Xiaomis. I had the old Mi Mix 3, the little slider. That phone was awesome. And then I had the Mi 11, and I love that phone. I had 2 Xiaomis. I've really, really, really liked using Xiaomi phones. The software wasn't exactly, wasn't great. But I liked using them. I really, and like I said, I took that's the phone I had in Puerto Rico when I was taking those pictures, and I really liked using the Xiaomi. I had no problem with it.
So question to you both, right? Money's not part of it, right? Mm-hmm. If you could have one device this year which one would you guys pick? First to you, Jimmy.
Oh, for like a Xiaomi device, you mean?
Any device. Money's not a thing.
Right.
Don't worry about money. If you can pick a device this year, what are you most excited about, and what would you pick?
Does it have to be out already?
You might have to come back to me. You might have to come back to me.
Right, okay. Sam, you go first then, mate.
So a phone that's going to be rumored, like all the way through 25, or what's currently out?
Yeah, through 25. So it could be one that should come out. That we like for me, a Xiaomi 15 Ultra.
If I had to, I would say. Remember, I'm in a problem. So it's not just money; it'd be money and carrier availability, right? It's something I could use on AT&T. Okay. So if I could use,
let's take that barrier away from right. for you.
So if I could use any phone, oh, you know what? I would want the Xiaomi XT. I would want the trifold. I would want to try that. I think that I really want to see what that's about. Like, and I still like Huawei, and I don't even care about the Google Play services. I don't give a shit about that. But yeah, if I don't know, maybe they'll come with an XT2. I don't know if they will or not. I really want to get my hands on the XT. I really think that just for sheer wow factor, because I think if you pull that phone out, and first of all, most foldables really kind of make people kind of go whoa, because a lot of people, general consumers don't know that they know that foldables are a thing, but when they see them in public, it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. But if you open up a phone and you do this and then dude, I think it would warp people's heads.
Yeah, that would.
I remember showing a friend the other day, and their reaction was crazy. They didn't know about the 8-inch bigger screen, and the reaction was great.
Yeah, you've been showing off your 8-inch, Jimmy.
All right, all 8 inches. Look at this, folks. Check this out. I don't even have to go. I'm gonna whip it out. Watch me while I take this thing out. Right? Yeah. But it's funny because when you're using it in public, and you'll be using it like I've sat there waiting for like a car service. And I'm sitting there just, and then people just kind of looking at me and they're like, oh, is it one of those folding things? Is that a foldable thing?
Yeah, it can be like that sometimes whenever I'm like waiting for the bus or something.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of cool. So but I would want to try that. I mean, but if you can imagine how wild people would be, and I still like that. That's why I love using the Duo, right? Is because you used to pull it out, use it, and you'll be using it in public, and people are like, was that 2 screens? Is that one of those foldables? It's like, no.
That's mad to us though, right?
You do it like that, and they're like, "Holy cow, it folds backwards." It's not. It's like, no, there's a gap. There's a gap there, and like, oh, it's 2 screens. I go, yeah, it's 2 screens, and like, I never heard of that. I go, well, I guess not, but so I still like that when you kind of. So I would like to try the Xiaomi XT, or if they come out with an XT2, I'd like to give that a try. I want to see what that's about. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
and I like
the Huawei one.
And I mean Huawei. I love Huawei devices. I've always been a fan of their hardware. And Xiaomi, I would use a Xiaomi too. The 15 Ultra would be pretty cool. I mean, I'm not into the camera, but maybe I'd like to see what kind of pictures.
I like the look of the concept creator's phone here. A micro 4/3 with Leica and Xiaomi. I'm liking the sound of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the question is, can you get that to work in a phone? And then again, the other question is, what kind of cost are you looking at? Can you? I
don't care if they made that. I'd buy it.
Right. Well, obviously, for a photography person, that would obviously hit the X200 also, the X200 Ultra.
Yeah. Well, I loved the 100 Ultra. So
well, that's probably coming out, right? So I'm assuming they're making a 200 Ultra, right?
China only though. I bet.
Well, you can import it or you can gray market it. It's cool. I mean,
yeah.
Huh?
Wouldn't say no to trying the next Pixel Fold or like the first one with the G5.
Okay,
but like definitely if it had like faster charging, maybe the better battery tech.
I'm guessing they're going to launch it with the 10 range again together.
Probably in like August or October and around then.
Right, but isn't this is the year that the Tensor will have access to a TSMC build, right? So this is supposed to be like what they were saying. Hey, once we get off this and we can get to a TSMC die chipset, this should be all the things. So I'm curious if if the G5 right comes out on across the 10 line, and comes across the 10 line, and you're like, okay, cool. Now you've got that charging speed. Now you got 67.
Oh, that'd be really nice,
dude. If you have all that,
or like 67 watt or something like that.
You have the G5, you have the processing speed, a 4 nanometer or even a 3 nanometer process with better charging, better retention, and bigger battery. That Pixel Fold 10 might be the bee's knees foldable wise. I mean, I think it would give a good run for the against the Fold 7. I mean, if Samsung does do that, which I'm assuming they will. I really wish Motorola would make a foldable. I really want to see what they could do with a foldable phone. I know people would probably piss and moan because it's Motorola and it's kind of cheap, and they'd say, "Oh, I'm worried about durability." But I'm curious to see if they would what a Motorola Edge Fold looks like. That'd be kind of cool instead of a flippy dippy. I'd like to see. I wish they would. I don't think they ever will, but I wish that.
Love to see if they end up doing a like a book style one.
Yeah, more like
I'm not really a fan of their UI.
Yeah, I would like to see that. It's the one OEM that I think, man, if they can make a foldable, I would be really, really interested in that. But they aren't probably going to. So what's your phone, Joe? I mean, obviously.
Oh, it's the 15
Ultra.
Yes, I've got it. I've got to scratch that itch. I've never had a Xiaomi for a start, and I've seen Jermaine showcase the Xiaomi cameras for quite a few years.
Wouldn't I know to try and HyperOS?
Yes, it is. Yeah, so I've not tried that. I've heard mixed reviews on it.
Yes, yeah.
So Honor Magic 7 Pro Fold for the win. The Honor Magic 7 Pro for the win. Is that yeah, it's a good phone. That's a great phone. Yeah. I'm assuming Tuna's got one. I mean, of course he does, because that's just how he gets down.
Tuna gets everything.
Right, and then between him and also folks, and if you see two in the chat, it's probably because the tech disruptors, and remember they go off at the same time. So if you have to, that's cool. Just watch one on one device and watch us on the other, and kind of bit back and make sure you give them some love, give them some clicks, give them some traffic, and then come back to us or whatever. So no, Josh is gone.
Oh, see you later, Jimmy.
No. Yeah, he dropped. That's okay. Oh wait, he probably would pop back up. So. Anyway,
so something exciting happened for me, Sam, recently.
There you go. Hey, sorry, Josh. There you go. You just dropped off, and then there you are.
So we've got the echo there around the way.
We've got the echo again.
Yeah, he's got to turn his volume down again. That's okay.
I think it's gone.
Now?
Yeah, it's gone now.
Okay.
So something exciting for me happened, right? The S52 got a firmware update.
Okay.
Right, and one of the things that comes with this firmware update is hybrid zoom. Right, so
I don't know.
With my 20-60, obviously that's the only lens I've got right now.
Okay,
I can zoom a little bit further with hybrid zoom.
So what does hybrid zoom do? What is that as opposed to regular zoom?
It crops it uses like the center of the sensor. With video, it's quite good because it uses the 6K capability, and you get usable 4K.
Okay.
With the hybrid zoom. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Can't wait to test it out.
Cool.
But you can do it with stills as well. But there's also a crop zoom. So even if you have a prime, it crops into that sensor.
Okay.
So say you had a 50mm prime, you can zoom further.
Yeah, so I guess you haven't had a chance to really put that update through its paces, right, and see how it...
No, but I think there's an argument that potentially cropping in post might be better anyway, with the crop zoom.
Okay.
But the hybrid zoom with video especially, it looks pretty good. Yeah,
well, that sounds like a good deal. I mean, that's what's I love it when you get those updates and they would cost you no money, and they did some firmware update and software update, and now you get some extra capability. That's kind of nice. It makes it feel better. It feels like that when you're making your investment for these $1,200 or $1,000 phones, that a year or two they're gonna support the device, one, right, and then two, also they give it some extra features, and that's why I really like Pixel because of the feature drops, right? I really do.
Yeah, that's true.
I really think that's one of the game changers for Pixel devices. I know they're not always everybody's cup of tea. I know Samsung and everybody else does a pretty good job. But I think Pixel's feature drops are really pretty nice. And I still swear by the live transcribe and I just the calling suite as far as putting people on hold and hold for me and the dictation. Like the other day, I had a phone call in. I'm actually having a roof replaced because I got damaged. So, but the call came in from Dallas, or like a Dallas area code. I didn't know who it was. And I just went to screen. I pushed the screen button, and it said, "Hey, this is person's using Google Assistant." And I look it down. I see it's my insurance company. I'm like, "Oh, it's the adjuster." Okay, cool. So I just put it right through. I said, "Pretty cool, right?" And I can kind of just do it. I mean, that to me is such a game changing thing for now. If you're not a phone user, like if you don't actually make phone calls anymore, maybe if you're that guy or gal or human, then fine. But for a person like me who still does talk on the phone and do get phone calls and do have to call people, especially if you're doing adult business where you're trying to call an insurance company or, any other kind of services, it's nice to have that when you make a phone call, it just puts hold for me. And then you go through that automated menu and you can just sit there and walk through a store, and you don't have to have the phone stuck up to your head and you can read everything that's going on and just go click and you're right in. And also the screen call, the screening for like junk calls and spam.
Yeah. It's nice.
Dude, once you start using that, forget it. It really, for a person like me, that when that's the one thing when I come off of a Pixel, that I really just go, when the phone just rings, I go, I don't have any of those features, and it just goes.
Samsung have some similar stuff now.
Yeah, it's pretty close. I like the Samsung stuff too, but it's not the same. It's not
the same. I mean, one thing I will say though, Sam, I don't know about in the US, but in the UK, right? You do that to anyone, they just put it down, even if they're genuine. They just put it down. They hear an assistant. They're like, yeah, forget that.
Okay. Well, then fine. Then it's like that. I do get I get, it's more like 50-50 here. Like, if they actually have to get a hold of you, they realize that, that's something that like, oh, people do screen calls with an assistant. Right. And so the person, it was a guy, and he just said, "Hey, this is your adjuster from State Farm calling, da, 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 da." And I said, "Okay, cool." And I just pushed and it says connecting your call now. And he was on the call. As soon as I called him, he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" He even mentioned the screening. He didn't even mention the assistant. He just said, "Hey, what's going on? I'm here to schedule your appraisal or your adjuster to come out and take a look at your roof." I was like, "Okay, cool." And that was the end of it, right? It's just nice to have.
It's definitely a nice feature.
When you don't have that on phones, when you're making phone calls, it's just like, it just makes you wish you had it, right? It's just, you get used to it. So, and like I say, I saw Josh, you made that, you said you had some call screening. You've used that and it's worked out.
Yeah, I had to use it recently. It was quite nice to use.
Yeah,
been getting loads of random texts and calls, and ended up using it.
Yeah, it's really good. So again, I think for me and my usage, I think that Google's Pixels, the hardware and the software, all of that put together just makes for a compelling device, and it's why I continue to use that as my daily driver. I continue to come back to Pixels, and I will probably keep using Pixels for a while. And I'm really curious to see. I'm kind of excited to see what the new foldables look like, and then what the new the 10 series Pixels look like. We'll see. So we'll see. But anyway, we're kind of bumping up on almost over an hour and 10 minutes. So we have I do this every time. I always worry, not necessarily because always having a guest is great, and I love having Josh on. I remember the last time he was on, it was great too. But I always just think, I'm just trying to think ahead of time, like, do we have enough topics to talk about where we can discuss things where we're not just like kind of fishing for silliness to talk about? But in every 5 more minutes, yeah, absolutely, we got 5 more minutes. Hell, what the hell? I'm not. Let's check the score of the game. Oh shit. Well, folks, I have a feeling the Commanders are not going to win. The score currently is, it's their third quarter, but the Eagles are up 34-15. So I think the dream season for the Commanders is probably going to go bye-bye. So, that's cool. So, yeah, what else did you want to – anything else you want to cover, Josh? Anything you missed? Anything you want to just chat, say, anything?
Not really much come to mind, no. Probably just the latest leaks about the Z Flip, I think FE with the Exynos 2500.
Yeah, I'm well, again, we're on that Exynos thing. I know, I thought, I don't know. I never used an Exynos chip. I know people in the UK and the Europe have.
That was frustrating.
I guess my question is on the Flip. I mean, what do you think, Joe? Do you think a Flip SE would be good? Like, do you think if it comes in at like maybe $600 or $700, maybe does that even move the needle for you on getting into a flippy dippy? Because I I think people who are not into flips, I don't think they're going to get into flips because of a price point. I just think they just don't like the form factor. I don't really think it's price necessarily, but maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it's a nice way to get the flips at a lower price point, right? But I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me.
It gets more people into the foldable section.
I think there will be people that will be interested. I'd be interested to see what the specs are, because the FE normally is like between the A range and the S range.
Upper mid range kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's like the A55 between that and the S24, for example. It normally sit between there. But where's it sitting between? There's only the Flip 6. So that's just going to be just below that. Maybe between the Flip 5 and Flip 6.
So like a slightly between the or Z Flip 5 and the Flip 6, but maybe like a slightly downgraded version of them both or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. What price point is it going to be? Right. What's the rumors?
I don't know.
I think 6 is 700 quid.
Needs to be cheaper for me.
I think as you say, if you're at 600, it's going to be hard, especially when you can go and maybe get. I was going to say, if you can get a Samsung, the Flip 5, or you know what I mean. If you're in that, I don't know, man. Maybe. I mean, if you can get yourself, I mean, the Flip 6 right now you can buy used for $453 ish, like 500, 550 in that neighborhood. So. And you get, again, I'm assuming the Flip 6 is probably going to be a better hardware and a better software as far as, like OEM specs. I mean, if you're at $600, why wouldn't you just go ahead and maybe buy a gently used Flip 6 instead of the FE? I think if the FE is $499, I think that becomes more compelling because now you're competing against the Moto, right?
When is it rumored to come out then? Timing wise, because obviously we'll have a Flip 7 this year.
Thinking a few months, I think maybe like March or April or something in around, maybe roughly about that or in around then.
Okay, so before the Flip 7, but so there's an interim Flip. Weird. I don't know, because they're talking of FE. There's going to be a new SE. There's going to be a new SE in there with iPhone.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. I'm just curious to see kind of where all that comes in. I just How
do you feel about SE though, Sam? iPhone SE.
I think for a lot of people, I think.
The naming has been crazy. There's been loads of articles about like the 16e, or like if it might be the 16e or something like that.
Yeah, I think SE. I think people really want that kind of a phone. I think it does actually have a market for people.
Yeah, I was debating it earlier. Like, I hate the SE, right? I hate it. Right. It's a con. It's overpriced for the hardware and software. Well, not the software, but the hardware you're getting. But on the flip side, it will sell bucket loads because lots of people want that.
Yeah,
I think, even if it is overpriced, it's what people want.
Yeah, I think you're kind of in that you're in that level. I think I think a lot of people on the iPhone side, remember, they don't buy phones and think about that use case like that, the way that Android people or people who are maybe on both sides of the fence would think about it. So I think, I think you might actually have a situation where.
But for these people, it's the value for money is actually there though, because they buy the phone, they use it for 5-6 years, right?
Right.
And they don't change phone for that amount of length of time. And when you think about it like that, actually, okay, it's worth it then.
Right. I mean, I just, at the end of the day, I think it's just, I think the SE, definitely the SE or any kind of like light variants would definitely sell better on the Apple space and iOS space than any.
Yeah, it will sell very well. It will. Yeah.
So for folks, I mean, that might be a good option. So, but so there's a lot going on. We have obviously, more a year to go. We're not even in January, and we still have, Google's event, Google I/O, WWDC, and all these other things. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously,
already, isn't it? A lot's come out.
A lot's come out.
Yeah, I think Samsung are to release the trifold this year. They teased it at the event. Secretly.
They're not calling it a trifold though. They're calling it a multifold.
Right. I don't think it.
think
I don't
multi-fold. Multi-fold.
Right. I don't think it's past prototype. It will not come out. I cannot imagine it would come out this year.
Do you not
And
think?
even if it does,
I can't wait to see if they'll be ramped up to similar prices on eBay to the Huawei.
Just quickly, Sam, right? If it did come out though, would you be interested in the multi-fold from Samsung?
I might be interested in it, but I don't know if I would burn an upgrade on it. Unless it had to have some kind of the insurance plan through AT&T. It absolutely had to have that.
And a good trade-in.
And a good trade-in. I would try it out, but I just honestly I don't think it's going to be. And I'm like when it comes to those kind of things, I'm really hesitant. The only time I ever did it where I did the prototype or like a phone that was really not ready for prime time was the Duo series, and I got kind of burned on that. So I don't know if I would really want to be on the first iteration of a multi-folding Samsung device. I think if anybody could do it, it would be pretty good for the first go around, but man, it's going to be probably closer to $2,500. And I'm like, I don't know if I can kind of drop. I can't just cost justify that. I don't think so. It'd be cool. Maybe if I was one of these YouTube creators and they would, Samsung would send me one, I could use it for free and maybe even for 6 months and turn it back in. I don't have to keep it. But as far as spending an actual upgrade and actually using it as a daily driver and hoping the hell it doesn't explode.
For that money, you can get high-end tablet and phone, can't you? Do you know what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying. You're starting to get into the plus $2,000 range. It just cost justifying essentially a Gen 1 product would be. I don't know if I could pull the trigger. It would be difficult. It would be difficult.
I think it might be rumored in around the like $2,500 range.
Yeah, that's too much for me. I mean, maybe there's other people that if they can. I know people like Jason. I know Tuna would probably be real hip on trying that out because I know. But even I think he would still feel really like, oh man, this is a lot of cash to be shelling out for a phone that might be not 100% solid and experimental. Oh, I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see. I just don't know at this point. If they make one, I'll have to make that decision at that time. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right. We're at an hour and 20 minutes. We're done. All right. So we're good. Joe's going to go and get his hair fixed. And
no, I'm going to bed, mate. Saoirse's been ill, so we didn't sleep well last night at all.
Right.
And I got a feeling it's going to be much the same tonight.
And thanks for the extra 2 pounds. And Tuna says apparently his dog likes Joe's voice. Doesn't like my voice. That's okay. I don't like my voice either. That's cool. So that's all. Well, thanks for thanks, Josh, for swinging on by. I appreciate you taking some time and talking with us. I really always appreciate the chats and really appreciate you being part of the show and part of the community. And it's always a lot of fun to chat with you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming
JFD.
By. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Always welcome, mate.
Absolutely. All right. For myself, for Joe, and for Josh, we are going to say goodbye and enjoy the rest of your week. Your weeks for a lot of people, their work week is starting on.
Hopefully, see some of you tomorrow on One Stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, make sure you check it out. I will be working, so I can't really participate.
I'll be working.
So, but if you are on One Stream, always check that out. That's always a good time. So,
one of the best.
Juan is one of the best. He is one of our favorite people in the world to do this. And so, yeah, if you have a chance to check out his stream, please participate and be there. I will be checking out after the recording. And that's it. So thanks so much for joining the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe. We will be back next Sunday. I don't know about guests, but if not, we'll just be out talking about. And again, thanks for tuning in. Remember, download the podcast afterward. Thanks for all the comments, Josh and Tuna and Jermaine and Dan and everybody else. And I saw Michael Cochran there too. Thanks, guys. We will see you next Sunday. Remember, enjoy your tech. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
We'll see you next Sunday. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Hope you're staying very hydrated.